Somebody always does it, and even if you announce it, they still. But
for a few more people to stream in. We'd also like the speakers who are on the program to be sitting up front here. The front is the family, but there's seats here for the speakers. Can everyone hear me in the back? Thank you, George. Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome to the celebration of life for Darag. For those who don't know me, I am Mara Winder, and the family has asked me to help hold the memorial service today. It's a very special privilege to do this. Before our full welcome, we'll open with a Scottish custom, a poem by Tagore, read by Joe Wheeler, a moment of silence, and then Amazing Grace, sung by Maria Monet Fakori. Please join me to honor Darag by welcoming in his family. Sally, his wife, Sasha and Elena, Darag's daughters, and Elena's partner Luke, led by Piper, Bob Logan. Please stand if you're able. Thank you. And thank you, Bob Logan. Please be seated. I'd like to introduce Joe Wheeler and Maria Monet. Firstly, Joe will read a poem by Tagore that has been described as a gentle and compassionate reflection on mortality. Peace, my heart. Joe.
Peace, my heart, by Rabindranath Tagore. Peace, my heart, let the time for the parting be sweet. Let it not be a death, but completeness. Let love melt into memory and pain into songs. Let the flight through the sky end in the folding of the wings over the nest. Let the last touch of your hands be gentle, like the flower of the night. Stand still, O beautiful end, for a moment, and say your last words in silence. I bow to you and hold up my lamp to light you on your way.
Thanks, Joe. You may remain seated as I invite us all into a moment of silence as a gesture of respect for Darag. Thank you. And now Maria with Amazing Grace. Thank you, Maria. Beautiful. That was a lovely way to set the tone for our time together. Thank you, Sasha, for the design, for that poignant opening. Well, hello and good afternoon again. I'm Marima, and I'm holding this symphony of Darag's celebration. Although you'll hear my voice up here for most of the service, my role is to orchestrate the components that have been assembled today to reflect the essence of Darag and the significance that he's been for so many people. Yes, my accent is American. I've been in Orewa for 30 years, living with my husband, John. Joe Wheeler will also be on stage for the majority of the service, guiding the speakers up and down the stairs and helping coordinate. As we come together to farewell, honor, celebrate, and remember Darag, a warm welcome to everyone who's here today. Welcome to those who are watching or listening on live stream. Welcome to the community group leaders who are here. And welcome to Darag's family and all of his friends. Thank you everyone for being here and for the sea of blue and the beautiful tartans throughout the room. Thank you too for all the support for Sally, Sasha, Elena, Luke, and their extended family, including Boots, their dog, Bootsy's best friend, Tilly, Linda and Craig's dog, and the extensive creatures of nature around their family home. Darag is here on the memorial table, so elegantly designed by Sasha. So a little bit about our time together. We've created a sequence, but the intention is that our gathering is informal. Informal, but no less reverent. Celebratory, but no less sacred. Since Darag's memorial today has been brought together by family and friends, by us community members, with heaps of different expertise and strong skills, rather than a large team of specialized event planners, we kindly ask for your understanding if there are a few minor bumps along the way. Please flow with us and make this a meaningful and memorable celebration for Darag. Thank you very much for your support. So today is a co-creation, a co-weaving. Today is a celebration. It's a gathering, and also a ceremony and a ritual to farewell Darag and find some peace and comfort for our hearts. There will be stories, memories, music, and songs by individuals and by choirs. As a community, we'll be singing 3 songs. After the service, we'll share in our meals and then open the floor to music and dancing with the Cayley Band. Today also gives us an opportunity to remember Darag with joy, to remember the many positive times and the great abundance of memories that have brought happiness, inspiration, and love to all of us. This aspect of our grieving honors Darag's legacy that lives on in each of us. To bless this space, I would like to acknowledge this land of Orewa, the beach, the vibrancy of the waterfront, all of us here, our families, our ancestors, and those who have gone before us on the caravan of life. I would like to acknowledge the season. It's still winter, yet there's the promise of spring. We're surrounded by the beauty of nature here, tree life, bird life, winds, and the scent of wood burning in fireplaces. I've also been asked to acknowledge the 4 directions, as they are aligned with the seasons and the stages of our lives. We recognize the east, the place of the rising sun, associated with spring, new beginnings, and air, with its focus on clarity of vision and awakening potential. The north, the midday sun, associated with summer, warmth, high energy, and fire, with its focus on abundance, life force, and growth. The west, the setting sun, associated with autumn, dusk, introspection, and water, with its focus on releasing the old, emotional depth, grieving, and the harvest of wisdom. The south, the polar wind, associated with winter, night, foundational stability, and earth, with its focus on endurance, compassion, ancestral grounding, and deep inner quiet. Acknowledging the sky above us and the earth below us, in the center, we stand grounded, connected, and present. May we bless this space and hold Darag and all of us in all this beauty and connection. So as we all know, something we need to do when gathering in a public space is housekeeping. Firstly, please turn your cell phones off or turn them to silent. The loos are out the back door, in the hallway, and then to the left. There are no live fires permitted, so Sash, Josephine, and the team brought light and beauty with tea lights and fairy lights. The family invites you to take photos during the service, but they respectfully request that no videos be taken during the service. During dinner and dancing, taking photos and videos are very welcome. Please send them to the link on your program card. After the service, if people could stack the chairs or place some of them around the tables that would be set up for dinners, that would be very helpful. After dinner, please collect your food containers and platters, and please take your empty bottles and glass with you. No alcohol will be permitted for those under 18 or after 9:15 tonight. If there's an accident or injury, please see Diane Bruce, Mary Gallagher, they're both nurses. And if there's a fire, we needed to appoint a fire warden. So Robbie Beach stepped forward in that role. There's a donation box in the back if anyone wishes to contribute to the band. A memory box in the back, also to share your thoughts. Before we finish, I would like Diane, Mary, and Robbie to please stand so we know who you are. Robbie, Diane, Robbie up here, and Mary. Thank you very much. This is our memoriam, a eulogy to Darag. Dedicated, gentle, kind-hearted, brilliant, humble, a true gentleman. In celebrating the life of Darag, we've been hearing these and so many more words over and over again. These last 7 weeks have been full of intense emotions, shock, disbelief, overwhelming sadness, and intense grief. We received Sally's message that Darag had died on the 9th of June. It was inconceivable that Darag would leave this earth so unexpectedly on their holiday in Rarotonga. Sally's words were beautiful and tender. My much-loved husband, Darag, left his human form to join with the ever-present presence of light, which was his home. Sasha and Elena flew up, and they had to deal with the massive challenges of bringing Darag home while their world was turned upside down. Today we may be carrying a complex mix of emotions, deep sorrow, yet also loving memories. In the years that so many of us have spent with Darag, we've come to know him as a good friend, a good husband, a good father, and a good man for our world, so in need of goodness. A gentle soul, brilliant, humble, and passionate about the things that matter. Family, friends, happiness, health, truth, justice, freedom, and peace. When in the company of Darag, he was fully present with you. You felt he was truly listening and giving you his complete attention. You felt recognized and respected in his eyes and in his heart. The poet Maya Angelou wrote, "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." While we continue to walk through our grief, Dr. D may remind us that the body and mind are affected by sorrow. And to feel better, we need abundant rest, good nutrition, fresh air, and the comfort and connection with one another. Dr. D, well-researched, very smart, and also super caring. Grief and love are interwoven. We are called to hold equal space for both. Grief is complex, intense, exhausting, and also transformational. When we grieve, we don't know how we will change, or what will we become in the changing. Did you know that the name Darag is a rare name with roots in Irish and Gaelic origins? It's believed to be derived from the Gaelic word Darag, meaning oak tree. The oak tree held significant cultural and symbolic importance in ancient Celtic traditions, representing strength and wisdom. As such, the name Darag carries connotations of resilience, steadfastness, and a deep connection to nature. The name Rennie is derived from the surname Reynolds. The Rennie clan motto is, "I will defend my right." It is derived from the given name Reginald, which itself comes from the name Reginwald, meaning council power. In 1955, Darag was born in Fraserburgh, Aberdeenshire, Scotland, called the Broch. Mom couldn't breastfeed him, so family and friends searched the village to find the one cow that he wasn't allergic to. From his website, he writes that Darag is pronounced like car and rig, Cardig, Darag. A Darag was the oak badge worn by the royal Stuarts, according to a book of tartans his grandfather found. I'm wearing the royal Stuart tartan, and John is wearing our clan home. If you would like to spend time with Darag, you are welcome to come to the memorial table, and if you wish, place an oak leaf from the basket or take an oak leaf home with you. In 1964, Darag emigrated to New Zealand with his mum Margaret on the Fair Sky. His birth father Joe, a builder, had already left Scotland. He lived in Wellington. His mum and dad had divorced. Darag and Meg lived in Levin, and Mom had a partner who gave Darag a bike. His father and mother subsequently remarried and moved to Wellington, and Darag was very sad that he had to leave his bike behind in Levin. Darag's dad died in 1985, and Meg died in 2001. From 1971 to 74, Darag was New Zealand intermediate indoor-outdoor archery champion. He attended Wellington Boys High and then Otago University. In 1978, he spent his final year medical elective as a bush doctor in New Guinea. In 1982, Darag spent 2 months with Babaji in India. Darag met Sally through rebirthing work. They married in 91 on Long Bay Beach. Sasha came along in 1994, and Elena in 1997. In 2002, the family moved to Scott Road. In 2017, after the girls had left home, Sally and Darag rented the house and took an 18-month trip to many places around the world, starting in America. They went on to South America, Machu Picchu, Finland, France, Italy, and Prague, to name a few, meeting up with the girls in various beautiful locations. They returned to New Zealand in 2019. Darag wrote his book and video modules, Evolving Food Pyramids, and in 2021 published Love, Light, Laws, and Lies, and both books are free on his website. In 2025, Darag ran for Hibiscus Coast Local Board. How he managed to do all these things in life and work is a mystery. Yet we are grateful that our paths crossed for a brief time. Darag loved to sing. Before we hear stories and from a few of Darag's friends, we are invited to sing. And to sing in a way that Darag did, in full voice, not caring about perfection. Please stand for Mull of Kintyre. The lyrics for all our songs will be projected on the wall. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Be seated. Derek's friends, Alan Shine and Karen Unka, are not able to be with us today. Joe will read their stories, and I will offer Karen's prayer. Joe and Ellen.
Hello again. Sorry, me. As Maren has already mentioned, Darag arrived on the Fair Sky in 1964 at the age of 9. I'm going to read now the words of Adrian Shine from his school days. Darag and I met the first week at school. We were in alphabetical order, and I knew him and sat next to him from 1968 to 1972. He was class captain in 7th form and voted by the class. I don't recall Darag saying anything bad about anyone, and certainly I never heard anything bad said about him. In our class, that was a rare commodity. Darag was always a decent person, which was unusual in a boys' school, and especially our form from the 4th onwards, which was a very vicious and bitchy group. But he seemed to always be above the fray and stayed as a good man all his life. My fondest memories of him at school were of his beautiful big white motorbike, roaring up the school driveway with his long hair blowing behind him, and of our anxious hours waiting for him when he drove it to our biology field trip in the 7th form at Tongariro and was much later than we expected him to get there. He arrived freezing and he needed a good clean-up from the road grime, not least from a runny nose from the fierce wind. The parties at his home in Brooklyn were both often and legendary and a big part of our social calendars. One of the most important lessons of Darag's school career was to learn that when you wag school to spend a naughty day at your girlfriend's place, make sure that her mother couldn't see the house from where she worked. She paid a surprise visit to Anne, the girlfriend, and Darag, and definitely spoiled their day. It was sort of hilarious in hindsight, but she involved the headmaster, so it was a bit of a scandal. He also told me that his dad had been a prisoner of war and saw a neighbouring internment camp with ragged, starving people. He didn't realise at first that they were Jews and it was some kind of concentration camp. He knew how wretched they were and gave some of his rations to them through the barbed wire. One thing I know for sure is that he loved his life with you, Sally, and the girls, and I think that he found peace and love. He taught me a few lessons. He would pull me up if I posted something before checking out the bona fides, or if I was reposting something but I was unaware of it being old news. His advice was full of wisdom, and I appreciated it always. Also, we shared some similar politics and feelings towards medicine and health practices. I hope that I've conveyed to you just how special I knew that Darag was, always and forever. I will always have the regret that there are questions that will remain unanswered and discussions that will never take place. I do feel privileged to have known Darag for the person he was, and I hope that he's in a good place with his parents and others of his special people who went before him. I hope that your grief and sadness will give way to the lovely fond memories that you all can cherish from a life well lived and shared. As I mentioned to you, Sally, it's a tradition in my religion when someone dies to wish their close ones a long and healthy life, full of good days. I wish that for you and the girls. A mutual friend shared he only had good things to say about Darag. That's a lovely heritage to leave to people who have known you both. I hope you find some comfort in the goodwill that always radiated from Darag and spread to those who were fortunate enough to have known him and shared a part of his life. I will always remember Darag fondly and for the good man that he was. Thank you, Adrian, for those lovely words. And now I'm going to read some words from Karen Unker about their shared university days at Otago University. My brief friendship with Darag left a deep and lasting impression despite limited contact. We first met during our medical training at Otago University, where I remember him as a striking figure with long hair and motorbike leathers. It's a common theme, that, isn't it? Pushing a motorcycle into a flat passageway, an intimidating sight for a naive newcomer. Our paths crossed again later when I was disillusioned with conventional medicine and exploring alternative healing modalities. Meeting Darag at a yoga centre dressed in a muslin kaftan and radiating gentle intelligence We quickly formed a bond rooted in shared interests in holistic health, metaphysics, and spiritual growth. Both of us soon left medical school, seeking a more meaningful understanding of health beyond the limitations of traditional practice. Driven by our desire for healing and spiritual insight, Darag and I delved into breathing techniques pioneered by Leonard Orr, which we believed held the key to profound well-being and even immortality. We practiced and promoted rebirthing therapy, sharing sessions with friends and attending workshops, but found that few people were interested in sustaining this path. Our evangelistic efforts and enthusiasm met with limited acceptance, highlighting the challenge of translating spiritual and holistic practices into a sustainable profession. Despite personal growth and a sense of purpose, this realization was disheartening, especially as I navigated the responsibility of family life and sought a balance between spiritual pursuits and practical needs. In the years that followed, Darag and I continued exploring organic farming, creating products like bliss balls, and experimenting with breathing techniques on land in Otaki. Our shared journey was deeply influenced by spiritual connections, notably Darag's devotion to Babaji, which provided him with profound life and spiritual affirmation. He often spoke fondly of his family, especially his partner Sally and their children, as vital sources of joy and purpose. And now Ryan's going to give the prayer.
So now a final prayer from Karen. Om Namah Shivaya, Darag. The passing of your physical body was far too sudden. Aging is a terrible human disease of epidemic proportions. Claiming you before your time is a physical loss to endure and resolve. You have left an indelible mark on many people, touched people profoundly. I was inspired by your tireless dedication to changing people to their benefit or working on behalf for their betterment, with a rare, selfless attitude. Driven as you were to contribute to the betterment of mankind, now unbound by time or physical reality, I know your spirit and soul will soar to even greater levels of awareness and being. I will forever be grateful that our lives and souls crossed for a far too short time in the physical realm. Nonetheless, I remain joyful that in the company of great masters, where you now dwell, I will continue my communion with you. Om Namah Shivaya, Bola, Babaji, Ja, Darag. Thanks, Karen and Jill, for that reading. Please welcome Darag's friend, Alan Young.
Darag and I go back a long way. It's about 47 years. I was about 20 at the time, and Darag was never going to be a person who would allow himself to be squeezed into the box of mainstream conditioned society. After completing the medical degrees, as was mentioned, Darag and his friend Kieran Unker left the mainstream medicine after being disillusioned with what they'd been taught. Darag was a seeker of truth, of love, community, and health, and trying to find a way to make a living in an unconventional way. This was back in the early 1980s. At the time, spirituality in New Zealand was really at its infancy stage. It was pioneering, exciting, but also full of naivety. We were like spiritual infants, but I was anyway. The founder of Rebirthing, Leonard Orr, came over from the US to Auckland to hold the first ever rebirthing training. Also, rebirthing has become known as conscious breathing. Darag was living in an A-frame house in Wellington with a few others who shared spiritual aspirations. The house would smell of his delicious cooking with spices and mustard seeds. His flatmates attended the Auckland rebirthing training. I'm not sure if Darag did. And that was the birth of rebirthing breathing in New Zealand. Those in the house began to rebirth others, including Darag, myself, and my girlfriend at the time, Jane White, who was living with them. The powerful breathing technique very slowly began to spread amongst the spiritual community. With the inspiration to get out of the city, grow veggies, Darag and Kieran and their partners at the time moved out to Otaki, about an hour from Wellington. He was then followed by Jane and myself. We started up what Leonard Orr called the one-year seminar, where we'd meet 1 day a month for a year, exchange rebirthing sessions and share spiritual knowledge and insights. Strong bonds were formed, and the group invited Leonard to come to Otaki for in-depth training. While Leonard was here, the group travelled around the country in the North Island leading trainings, including at the Rajneesh Centre in Auckland. We stuck bus seats in the back of the van so we could have room to sit. When we came back to Otaki, nobody was really making enough money to live on, although Kieran was making some beautiful cane baskets. So the group split up, and Darag and his first wife, Margaret, moved to Whangarei Heads, and Jan and I moved to Pororua, and Kieran and his wife stayed in Otaki. Eventually, the impulse came from Darag and myself and a few others to start a rebirthing centre in Auckland. And miraculously, we found this home, and it's secluded bush setting with a swimming pool and spa pool and enough rooms for 7 of us for $200 a week. It's a bit of a story how that came about, but I won't go into that today. We were an odd bunch of 7. Darag and Margaret had shaven heads, just coming back from India visiting Babaji, but the owners of the home were desperate for flat tenants because the people that they had lined up pulled out, and they were leaving in a few days to own a motel down in Rotorua or somewhere. So we got the job. The decisions to leave medicine tended to haunt Darag at times, and I think it was mainly because he was trying to find a way to make a decent living with what he really believed in. But he always had a bit of a tendency to try to find a way to beat the government systems, and like how to legally pay no tax or legal loopholes or earning incredible returns on investments. This led him down some unpredictable, slippery paths financially at times. But while he was in India with Babaji, trying to figure out whether he'd made the right decision to leave medicine and pursue rebirthing or not, Babaji, standing on a mound, looked at him and bellowed out, "Rebirthing!" although they'd never discussed the topic before. Darag then asked Babaji for a name for the centre, and Babaji gave him the name Rebirthing Kunjuru Ashram. I have no idea what Kunjuru means. I forgot all about that one. So, the makeshift rebirth centre cum flatting arrangement began in Glenfield with a humble start. A few clients came for rebirths and we had chanting sessions. To bring in more clients, Darag and the others who were offering sessions decided to place an ad in the Herald. A few of the words included were conscious breathing, private sessions at the Rebirthing Kunjuru Ashram. When the newspaper came out, it read, conscious breeding. Private sessions at the Rebirthing Kangaroo Ashram. So the newspaper rang us up, wanting to do an article on us, trying to find out what this private breeding thing was. So Darag and Margaret, his first wife, separated, and later Sally moved into Darag's life and became his trusted and beautiful spiritual partner for the rest of his life. Together they gave a lot and shared a lot, running various well-attended workshops with Sandra Ray and other loving relationships trainers from the US, and they led their own seminars and workshops. Darag always had a strong interest in physical health and well-being, and he delved deeply into diet and other topics, selling various supplements through multi-level marketing which appealed to him. When the pandemic came along, it was natural for Darag to align with Voices for Freedom and both he and Sally worked tirelessly to support the unvaccinated community, which I was a part of, and promote self-resilience. He also had the courage to put himself out there in the community in this difficult and bizarre time. His departure from this world leaves a huge hole in his family's life, his close friends' lives, and the VFF community. I will always have fond memories of Darag and love him to his core. To me, he was like a gentle, cheeky little elf, full of goodness, a great smile and laugh, and positive intentions. Goodbye, my dear friend. I'll see you on the other side.
Thank you, Alan. We won't forget that. Conscious breeding at the Kangaroo Center. So please join me in welcoming the local men's Coastie Choir and the women from Hibiscus Coast Singers, along with Elena's photo arrangement. We'd like Edward, Vonna, Lisa, Trish, and Drew to come to the front of the seats. Thanks. The Coastie Choir are local men from Orewa and the surrounding towns, and the Hibiscus Coast Singers are also local women who are fantastic.
Singing one of Darag's songs I'd like to sing before
Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme.
better with Darag in there.
Yeah.
Could you film my son in the choir? Yeah,
So Darag was a member of the Men's Coastie Choir, and Sally is a member of Hibiscus Coast Singers. The women will sing Afterglow, and the combined choirs will sing The Rose. Beautiful. Thank you, choirs. You can often hear the coastie choirs, local men. They've sang at Hospice, they've sang at Estuary Arts, and the women and the men also sang at Final Pearl Primary last year, so keep an eye out for them. Beautiful. Thank you, thank you. When our group met in 48 hours after we heard the news, there were so many tears, deep shock, but also heaps and heaps of good memories. So I invite up Darag's friend Edward Newborn, who offers the reading.
I first met Darag at Rebirth and Course many moons ago, and we lost contact for a long time until I reconnected with Darag and Sally at the very first meeting, I suppose, of minds in the domain, because I think those who were there done a bit of research about what was going on in the country at the time, and been keeping friends since then. Just a couple of small readings from, a lot of you may know this lady, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Grief is real because loss is real. Each grief has its own imprint, as distinctive and as unique as the person we lost. The pain of loss is so intense, so heartbreaking, because in loving, we deeply connect with another human being. And grief is the reflection of the connection that has been lost. We think we want to avoid the grief, but really it is the pain of the loss we want to avoid. Grief is the healing process that ultimately brings us comfort in our pain. Real love doesn't die. It's the physical body that dies. Genuine, authentic love has no expectations whatsoever. It doesn't even need the physical presence of a person. Even when he is dead and buried, that part of you that loves the person will always live.
Thank you, Edward. Svana, Lisa, and Trish will share their time with Darag at Life Force.
I too have met Darag when he was, had no hair and he was shaved. And very rebirthing, very powerful thing. But before I, share, I just want to say, when I first saw the text from you, Sally, that he's gone, I could not relate to it. It's just like, what? And it really didn't really hit me until I walked in here. I really feel like grief. And what do you say about somebody like that? He was such a humble, he is such a humble man, so powerful, so loving. He taught me a lot of things. He was part of our business, in one of the top leaders in our industry. And what I learned from Darag is that what matters the most is what is left behind when you leave, when you're gone. And those memories, it's what really matters. I'm not going to go long about our business together. It was amazing. We spent a lot of time together. Loved visiting at your place, Sally, and always felt so welcome. Darag, by the way, taught me how to how to make steak and not overcook it. Like he said, you know, as long as it's bleeding and it's kicking and screaming, it's all right. But I just want to share, you know, we did a lot of business events together, trainings where we had lots of people, and at the end of each training we would, not every time, but often we had little fun times. People would do skits and stories, and Derek always had this one amazing joke he told. It was always the same. When he was in Scottish. So, you know, when I first, English not being my first, not even second language, I remember, I could not relate to what he was saying, but it was funny. And he was so sincere, like a little boy, you know, like a 12-year-old, and he was, or 8-year-old, he was so animated. He was telling the story and he laughed at the end. And I could remember looking at the room and people were stunned for a little bit, and then everybody laughed because it clicked. And it's an amazing joke about the two farmers, and one of them standing in the field, and the other just standing there night and day. And the other farmer said, "Well, what are you doing there?" You know, he says, "Well, I'm standing in the field." I said, "Why?" "Because I'm going to get Nobel Prize." Because they say, you know, anybody who's standing in their field will get a Nobel Prize. You know, saying it in real Scottish, it was just amazing. So I thought I'd bring that in because it's such a loving memory. And the funny thing is, he told us the joke every time. And it was funny every time. Yeah, I just want to say I love you, Derek, wherever you are. I know you're like Matt, and you live huge, massive, what do you say that word? What you left behind is massive. Your memory, your legacy, it's way bigger than you are. Way bigger than. Yeah, way bigger than I can express. That's all I will say. Thank you. Love you, Derek.
I'll just add a little to that. I didn't know Darag as long as Spooner did, and I really got to meet him at the beginning in Life Force when we started working in that business together, 25 more years ago. And but I think what I always got, he was so strongly into community, and that's what he really felt like he really embraced all of us who were his work colleagues or business colleagues. Kind of sounds pretty sterile, but he was part of an amazing community of people that were together for a long time, not just working but having a lot of fun, and he certainly brought a lot of love, light and fun to everything that we did together. And just so acknowledge him and Sally and Elena and Sasha for welcoming us into their homes so many times over the years. And one of the things I always remember was it was always Darag cooking dinner and making breakfast. That really stuck with me. It was like any time we were there, he'd make dinner and he'd do breakfast pretty much, which was quite amazing, I thought. And just the love that he brought to all of us who were associated with him, and then just to see that love 100-fold with his family, with you three. It was so, like, I'd never seen that before, really. Not so cohesive, and so I know there was all sorts of ups and downs, we all had them, but just that cohesive sense of connection and the way he shone when he was with his family. He shone with all of us too, but there was a whole other level of it whenever we came to be with you guys. It just touched me so deeply. And I want to just acknowledge the fact that they travelled. We just happened to be in Slovenia, Spooner's homeland at that time, and Sally and Darag popped in their motorhome on their way to Greece, which was pretty cool, and stayed with us. And I think your vehicle broke down, so it was a bit of a messing around in Ljubljana trying to find parts for the motorhome, and sure enough, you're on your way again. And I got a feeling that one of you girls came and stayed with Elena. I thought, yeah, I was just thinking, I'm sure that one of you came and stayed with us too, which is really cool. So it just felt nice to have those international connections going on. And more than anything, just like Swanna said, I didn't really get it until I walked in here and just felt I could just feel the love. And I just thought, hearing all these stories and seeing those photos, I just missed out on most of his life, actually. I only really got to know him for about that much, and it was only every now and then, so I feel like I really missed out big time. So what we did get was just so heartfelt and loving and always there, always present, and embracing us as family anytime we met up with him. It was so lovely. So that's
So hi everybody, I'm Trish. I hope you can hear me well from here. I have actually known Darag, I think since about the time he and Sally were married. I know that I wasn't invited, but I think it was that we maybe had a flat. And, I've done many talks with Darag over time, and I know we stand here, and it's kind of weird that he's down there, and we'd be standing here, and he'd say, well, today you're going to get the long, and you're going to get the short. And then he'd say, you go first, and I go, you go first, and you're a doctor. But he was always extraordinary. But what I'd like to do first is I'd like to read out a story from Manfred. Manfred Browning lives in Golden Bay and couldn't make it today, so he asked me to read this out to you. And it will eventually come to a really funny story about growing chickens. So hang in there. So Manfred says, I've known Darag for 25 years, and we were working together helping people on their wellness journeys. He had become a medical doctor to help people with their health, but soon discovered that it was mostly about prescribing pharmaceuticals, and he could never be sure if he would heal or kill people, and of course anything in between. He could not handle the thought of maiming or even killing people while trying to help them. Needless to say, he didn't last long in the pharma-driven medical system. He moved his focus to personal development and nutrition after many years of following official nutritional advice, that is, the food pyramid, followed by decades of believing that the vegan diet is the way to optimum health. He turned everything upside down and designed his own food pyramid that has by now only just hit the mainstream through JFK Jr.'s influence. His main messages in our seminars we did together, and from there through his website, social media and books, was humans are the only beings that eat according to their philosophy. And we have a food industry that doesn't care about health, and a health industry that doesn't care about food. And of course there were many more, but these stick out for me. We had a lot of fun travelling together and helping thousands of people internationally. Then came a very sad moment when he called me to tell me that he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. He was a very committed family man, and he was so sad thinking that he may not see his girls grow up. And he got over that and had many more family adventures. I remember telling him, you're not going to die, Dee, not now. The funniest story I remember of Darag was when he first got chickens and got some advice from me, as I had years of experience. Manfred is a biodynamic farmer. After the first season and before molting, which does strange things to fowl when they change their feathers, the family went on holiday. And when they came back, Darag rang me up and very sadly explained that the chickens were looking really sick and had lost most feathers, and some looked like growing inside out. He was really worried, and I couldn't help it to make a joke about the ex-medical doctor and said, oh, Darag, you didn't vaccinate them. got the chicken flu. We took it seriously for a moment, but I couldn't hold a straight face for long, and we had a good laugh. This was many years ago, and the joke would have even been more serious today with yet another threat of the bird flu. While it is sad to say goodbye to good friends' physical form, I trust that Darag is now in bodiless bliss in another realm of reality where only pure love and light exists, and he is free from all worldly concerns. So that's from Manfred. So for me, I first met Darag in the 1990s, I think after he got married. And after joining his health and lifestyle community, so I have known him for about 34 years. We worked more closely together since the early 2000, and the past 8 have been more on an advisory capacity. To sum up my journey with Darag, I have some bullet points. Some things are obvious about him: kind, caring, a loving man who was comfortable saying he loved you. The big one was his stand for truth about health. For me, he was my intervention angel when I was sick. A calm presence when things were crazy. A trusty man friend when I didn't like men. A compassionate being when you made mistakes, he'd just laugh it off. A deep listener when things got hard. A skilled communicator when conversations went awry. The scariest ski instructor when I was terrified of falling. He just believed you can do it as you head down the mountain and realised I just need to know how to stop. The best spiritual advisor about life in general. He believed joy was our natural state of being. That's the piece I hold dear to my heart. He set the bar really high. Remarkable husband, remarkable father, and remarkable friend. Long may these memories live. Love you, Dee, Darag, Stuart, Rennie, always will. Thank you.
Thank you, Swana, Lisa, and Trish. It's wonderful to hear the stories in the background. So please welcome Darag's friend, Drew. Drew McCrae will give us his words and Skyboat song.
Hi, I'm Drew McCrae, a fifth-generation New Zealander and descendant of Clan McCrae. I say that because I met a guy this morning who said you should say that and connect to the man you're talking about. Because it was Darag who said to me when he was on holiday in Scotland, he said, I've just been to the Island Donnan Castle and it's full of McCrae stuff. And it was really exciting, you know. And I said, that's where I, you know, descend from. But that started me thinking about that sort of thing. You know, today I'd like to reach out to the house of Rennie Cook. On behalf of Karen, Pryor and Guy, I offer our deepest sympathy to Sally, Sasha and Elaine in the passing of Darag. Darag once said to me, get ready for this, I might just turn into a ball of light and disappear. That was the strangest thing that anyone had ever said to me. But I'm a fairly open-minded person, but maybe that's what kind of happened. I got to know Darag through homeschooling. He was part of the Bridge homeschooling group. We saw each other quite a lot during that time, but that's not when we first met. For a quiet person, he does make an impression on you. And that's how he does it. That's how he did it. But we first met in a hairdressing salon. And I don't know if Sally knows the story, but that's where I first met Darag. I was about 18 and he would have been in his late 20s. And I was an apprentice hairdresser and he was the client. In the course of our conversation, he spoke about conscious breathing. That was also weird. And said he was about to travel to India to learn more about Eastern mysticism. That's roughly it. And I thought that was really interesting because I was about to explore the world of Christianity. He was as skeptical of my way as I was of his, to be honest with you. But the truth is we were fellow searchers of truth and enlightenment and trying to figure out the what, where and why of life. We were both embarking on a very, very interesting journey. And that was that. Until 20 years later, the universe decided we should meet again. Darag was now a fellow homeschooling dad. Lots of life experience, and I'm pretty sure a little less hair than when we first met. We socialised a lot around that time. Our kids were growing up together. We holidayed together. He asked me interesting questions. He valued my thoughts on a thing, and I likewise. We still had our preferred spiritual beliefs, our intellectual approach, and different diets. I had the normal one. Darag was interesting. He was caring. Sometimes very surprising to me. Quite brave. And prepared to stand and fight like a Jacobite against any form of government overreach. And I say, fair enough. I didn't know Darag as well or as long as some people here. But our friendship and family time to sky. Many's the lad for home that day. Well, the when the night came, silently lay dead on Colorado's feet. So speak on the boat, like a bird on the wing, on with the sailor's cry. Carry this lad who's born to be king over the sea to sky. Though the waves leap, soft shall he sleep, oceans a royal bay. Rocked in the deep, Flora will keep watch by you. Speed bonny boat, like a bird on the wing, on with the sailor's fly. Carry this lad who's born to be king over the sea to sky. So long, Darag.
That's me on now. I'm on that.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you. So we welcome up Julian.
Thank you, Maribel. Darag was my friend, and from looking around I can see that he was your friend too. I believe Darag was one of those rare people where almost everyone who spent more than 20 minutes with him came away considering him a close friend. He had a way of connecting with people. He was genuinely interested in what they had to say without ever being overbearing about it. He was knowledgeable and he knew what he stood for, but he never once made me feel unheard. But never made anyone feel belittled. He was always up for a debate, but he never once made me feel unheard or that my points didn't matter. His authenticity shone through. Darag wasn't just there for individuals, though. He was there for the community too. He was at every RCR and VFF event, from setup to pack down. His weekly top 5 emails were rich with content, and he had a huge readership. His community spanned wide. I could tell you about the holidays that Joe and I shared with Sally and Darag, about him teaching my son to use a chainsaw, felling trees in that section, about the dinners, the laughter, the frustrations, the hugs, but we'd be here until next Tuesday. I'll end with this. Darag had traits that you don't see often these days. He was solid, reliable, dependable. It may be a while before we truly feel the impact of everything he did for us and for this community, often without us even knowing. Khalil Gibran wrote, "And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then shall you truly dance." But above all, he was my friend. Rest well, Darag. We miss you. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Now we invite up our friends Linda and Craig.
I'm going to go first because Lynn's a much better writer than me. So she's a big finish. Darag, mate, your loss is a huge shock. You've been one of the significant pillars of our personal circle and of the wider community. We are mates. Turns out he's got a lot of mates, which is great. And what is it that makes a great mate? Trust, mutual respect, and especially knowing that you have each other's backs. And it seems like he made a lot of people feel like that. In a world full of different ideologies and unexpected surprises, sharing a similar worldview also helps. And I reckon we agreed on about 80% of our worldview, and the other 20% made life really interesting. You're a mover and a shaker in the freedom community. You're dogged, determined, and well-researched, and your weekly Substack stretched and challenged many of us. And generosity and hospitality were just a huge facet of your life. And I think that's the feeling we got when you get invited around to Sally and Darag's place. And that's the feeling you have in the kitchen there. It's just great. Your home was often full of people enjoying a welcoming oasis of fun and laughter and epic barbecues and steaks. And your big love for your family was always evident. And just before you went to your last trip to Rarotonga, we were talking about the weather forecast there because it was going to be grey and windy. And I said, what are you going to do at that time? If the weather's no good. And he said, I'm happy wherever I am. And so, Darag, thank you for years of fantastic friendship, and I sincerely hope that you still can say that wherever you are.
Can we put a call out for a charger?
I have noticed that nobody's cried up here, so I hope I managed to not break the trend.
Break it!
I'm a crier, so I might break the trend. My dear friend Darag, life is filled with the unexpected, and I have to say, standing here celebrating your life without you is one of the most unexpected things I could have imagined. It's been 7 weeks now since you left your earthly body so very suddenly and unexpectedly. The jarring, numbing shock of your urgent departure is settling, and now I feel the day-to-day loss of you in our lives. You are missed, Darag, sadly missed already. I remember meeting you for the first time 15 or more years ago, when Sally invited Craig and I to come stay for the weekend in your Waipu house sit. And that's where we first got to know you, and that was the real start of our friendship. There have been so many happy times together, you and Sally and Craig and I in the ensuing years. But our real friendship deepening started 6 years ago, when the four of us found ourselves social uncleans as a result of a personal medical choice that we all took. I will forever remember the countless happy hours we spent together in your home since that time, When I think of you, Darag, I always think Darag has the gift of hospitality. You love nothing more, along with Sally, than to open your home to friends and family, always with the utmost generous hospitality. Always in the kitchen, conjuring up a delicious meat treat, glorious aromas filling the house. Then you bought the still. And your hospitality stretched to a whole new dimension. Who knew that I liked pink gin, homemade Baileys, and even chocolate rum, even if I could only cope with one glass a night. Your hospitality, Darag, was the outward working of the way that you chose to live your life as an expression of love. You say as much in your book. Quote, I am a simple person. I believe life is about sharing and that the fundamental principle to life is love. And nowhere was that guiding mantra more self-evident, all-encompassing and never-ending than in your relationship with your beautiful wife Sally and your gorgeous girls Sasha and Elena. These three girls, it was evident to the world, were your raison d'etre, your guiding light and your primary purpose in life. Sasha and Elena, I know that you know, but you really were the most precious gift imaginable to your dad. And I told you I would break the trend.
Thank you.
In contemplating my tribute today, I reread part of Darag's book called Light, Love, Laws and Lies, and the words that follow are written by Darag. My own fear of death rolls more around the thoughts of missing those that I love than anything else. It's those attachments to my family that feel the biggest thing for me to lose. Wanting to be with them, to protect, nurture and enjoy, being my biggest reason to stay. Having seen enough people die, I'm not concerned about dying itself, or whether there is an afterlife or not, as much as I believe that there is a conscious ongoingness. My take on it is, if there is an afterlife, then it will be a great adventure and a graceful confirmation of what I have believed. If there is nothing, then I won't be there to be concerned about it. So either way, death is nothing to be concerned over. And there is a certain grace that happens with the acceptance of death and of acknowledging the body's place or lack of it in our ongoing journey. However we individually deal with it, coming to terms with our thoughts and fears about death will help us relax into and live our lives in the deepest possible way. Even with the sadness of losing you, Darag, I am aware of the gift that you have left me personally and many others. Your sudden, unexpected leaving has refocused my attention on just how much of a precious gift life really is. And how much I can take it for granted, and how suddenly and quickly the gift can end, reminding me to live with renewed gratitude and consciousness is your final gift to me personally. I will never ever forget you, my kind, loving, generous, oh so hospitable, dishwasher the wrong way, dearest of dear friends, I know you continue and always will.
Thank you, Julian, Craig, and Linda. Now, we're looking for a cable. Of course, we're looking for an old Apple cable so that we continue the live stream.
New Apple cable.
A new, not an old. Okay, an old Apple cable.
New.
Anyone in the room have an old Apple
New.
cable? Sorry. A new Apple cable. Somebody raise their hand.
Good.
Thank you. Would
Oh,
you mind coming up with that? Thank you.
Wait.
Yes, we won't have a live stream if we don't have that cable.
Okay.
All set, Julian? Not yet.
Aaron's going to grab one anyway. Yeah.
So we'll just pause there for a moment while we
Oh, sorry,
check.
Craig's just reminded me that there was a cable that came up.
We have the cable.
I'm not the tech queen.
Now what? Okay, now we have to try and get it in here. Then it goes in there. Still working in here? Within this one. Where's that one? I can hold it. It's not going to work, I don't think.
Amazing stories.
You sure? Yeah, okay.
We've heard some common themes. Humble, gracious, hospitable, daring. So we're going to invite you all to stand. You're all sorted here.
I'm going to sit here.
And we invite you to sing.
Sit we're
We shall be
standing,
known.
but I'm going to sit. I'm going to sit. No. No. There's no music. Yeah. Yeah.
Choir's going to start, and we can follow on.
Shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth.
choir. Thank you, everyone. Well, now is the time for the family to honor their Darag. Sally, Sasha, Elena.
Hi. Give me a sec. Very strange that we don't clap at funerals. Anyway, I'm Elena. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Darag's youngest daughter. I'd like to start by saying a massive thank you to you all for being here today. Not only just today though, but for being there in those quiet moments as well. I'm going to follow Linda's trend of crying.
Please do.
I'm very aware that events like this one cause a massive ripple effect, and that for every person that's been there, where was I? Very aware that events like this one cause a massive ripple effect, and that for every person who's been there supporting us, there's another person there supporting them. An extra special thank you to those who have spent huge amounts of time organising today, as well as those of you who have been there in the most raw moments of grief, and who have held us anyway. I do trust that you guys know who you are. There are many times when we don't know what to say or how to express our gratefulness, but please know that we are so deeply thankful for this beautiful protective blanket you've all created for us to be wrapped up in. I appreciate you keeping that strong as we continue to move through these times. Most importantly for my mum, for whom I know those quiet moments are the hardest. Some of you may not know, but it took Dad roughly 71 years to understand sarcasm. Tell him anything sarcastically and he'll probably just take your word for it. So if I was to tell Dad now that I really loved writing this eulogy, he'd likely still believe me. Dad did have a wonderful way with words though, always ready with beautiful speeches, handwritten cards and gentle words that made things seem a little bit easier even in the worst times. I do believe that I'm most similar to my dad, so because of that I hope I can honour him by offering some words of comfort for us all here today. So while I could definitely stand here and talk about how unfair it is that Dad had to leave, or about this unbearable pain that I don't know how to fix, or of course about the sadness I feel knowing he'll miss out on so much more. But I won't do this, because I also know that everyone in this room has likely experienced a similar kind of pain, or simply just felt wronged by the world in some way. And I also grew up with my dad, who taught me some irreplaceable lessons, the most valuable of which to me was how to love with an open and honest heart. To live fully is to live with love, but in the same breath it is also to live with pain. And unfortunately we cannot have one without the other. And what a blessing it is to have a pain so deep, that it shows how clearly and irreversibly that we can love. Dad also taught me how to trust my inner judgment and strength, to know that it will always hold me even in the darkest times. The way that Dad lived and loved was an inspiration to me in more ways than I could explain today, but I do strive to carry this on through my life. I will always value how he never tried to tell me what to do, but he simply guided gently, always delighting in my happiness and holding me tight whenever life fell apart. Dad always found ways to make us laugh, but he was just as happy being the subject of the laughter himself. He never cared too much what people thought of him, and he certainly didn't mind being the source of complete embarrassment for his very easily embarrassed youngest daughter. There were countless moments like this. One that stands out was my graduation day. All of us were dressed up to the nines, except of course for Dad's shoes, which were probably around 34 years old, I imagine, and sadly chose that day to disintegrate. So Dad had to continue the day clomping around town with a suit on, yes, but also with bare feet. Although many times he'd forget to put his tooth denture back in, and we'd go out to the shops together. He'd be chatting to every single cashier we met on the way, not realising, of course, until we got back in the car, that he had no front tooth the whole time. All of which he found completely hilarious and leaving me absolutely mortified. Dad had this amazing ability to find delight in every single situation, no matter how ordinary or unexpected. His laughter and his lightheartedness, and his ability to never take himself or life in general too seriously, are qualities I will remember and miss always. I wanted to share something that I wrote to Dad a few years ago, but it seems to hold true through time. You remind me of a year's reflection. With a year gone and an increased attention to surroundings and experiences, you are held within so many special moments. You remind me of the flames that lap at wood, spreading their warmth into my heart. You remind me of the crack of fireworks as they light up the night sky with colour and fun. You remind me of the silliness that is essential in a life of sobriety. And you remind me of the synapses as new connections are made in our minds. I'm nearly there. You remind me of the grounding roots of trees that stretch far beneath my feet, and the solidity of mountains as they rise from the earth far above me. You remind me of the snow that drifts on a lazy wind to mount on my hand. You're in the credits of every movie, the note of every Tui song, and the bubbles of dish soap as I ponder the world's problems. You're in the stillness of the morning when it's only you and I awake, and the dark of night sitting with me quietly when I struggle to fall asleep. You live in every smile and every peal of laughter. You remind me of all my favourite places and all my favourite memories. You remind me of home. So yes, we will grieve and we will definitely cry, we will also laugh and we will remember you. We will remember you in ways that are different for each of us, but all of them as beautiful as you are. And while you are no longer here with us in person, you live in each of us that you have inspired. There will not be a day that goes by where your name isn't spoken or where I don't miss you. I love you to the end of the earth and back again, through this lifetime and the next. Always your little girl.
Hello. I'm Darag's other daughter. There are so many more thank yous than I can say in this moment. To my family, to the people that created today, and to those nearest and dearest to me. I know you know who you are. Thank you, and thank you for all being here, knowing how much Dad meant to you all. I can't believe I'm standing here today. This event was so far in my future, it hadn't even surfaced as a thought. And yet, here I am. Impossible to put all I want to say into words, let alone a short space of time. And so please, receive this snippet of imperfection with tenderness, knowing it is but a glimpse. My dad, as you now know, if you didn't already, was one of many, many lives, continually shifting and evolving, metamorphosizing from one thing to another. He would often speak to me of those times between, when something no longer felt right, yet the new thing hadn't arrived. Those moments of confusion, uncertainty, and doubts. Yet the tentative steps into something new, and the moment of landing when that something new felt right. Until the next evolution, and the questions and uncertainties and confusion arose again. Yet even with these doubts and uncertainties, he kept moving forward, knowing full well as he learnt and grew more that the bliss of ignorance would equally be stripped away and leave more scars of pain. That as his wisdom and knowledge grew, so would the sorrow build. I believe this is why innocence was his anchor. To know that his actions before he knew better were not something to anguish over, but something to humble himself to and grow from. And it's through my own experience in recent times of most things I once held near or true, falling away, and a flood of new directions, new truths, new ways of living coming into my life, that I've finally started to gain a whole new understanding and beginning to grasp just how deeply Dad had learned to trust in life and the great expanse beyond. A trust that allowed him to follow through in those moments of utter chaos. And my heart is breaking. That it's only in his death that I'm truly marveling at the man he was. In no way a perfect man, though. Dad had his flaws, same as us all. And as some of you here have experienced, Linda just with the dishwasher, but others with more, his passionate anger could be intense. A piece that has been alive and very strong in these years as our world has gone through all it has. In the lead up to today, I found a Stuart plaque, which is now on this memorial space creation, with the motto, "The lion's anger is noble." And although I feel Dad could have been softer in his delivery, and I don't always agree with what he said, I honour his scrupulous research, his lifelong search for truth, his passion and his courage to raise his voice and speak for freedom, to demand transparency and accountability. These are some of the things I will always deeply admire about him. But mostly it's the little things. It's his awe of this world and the small things and simple delights. Like learning with childlike wonder last year that it's a caterpillar eating the leaves of a cabbage tree that gives them their holes. Taking me out to the chicken coop at night to see the wild daisies glowing in the moonlight. Singing through his choir songs at the kitchen bench. Our voices full and loud, mingling and filling the room. Pausing together, just for a moment in our daily lives to watch the tuis bathe. These are just some of the recent moments I'll treasure. And it's this passion in all the forms it showed up in, the anger, the love, the awe and delight, that came through the same core, which as multiple people here have said tonight, was his deep love for this earth and humanity, and so it doesn't surprise me that it was an earth's embrace that he departed this world. Bare feet on the grass, mountains watching over him as the waves called him home. With Dad, I got more than a father. I got a teacher, a spiritual guide, a friend, and one of my greatest supporters. A dad who was always there, always passionately involved in our lives and in the world in general. A truly living, learning human being. And it's such an odd experience. In some moments I feel you so fully here, Dad. I feel your hand on my back. I feel your belly pressed against mine as we hug. I hear the sound of your laugh and see your shoulders shaking with glee. I see your face light up and your eyes sparkle when you see me. Yet you're no longer here in that form, and I'll never experience any of those moments but in memory. These last years have taken me through underworlds of my own being, and that, alongside his absorption of the world, has created some distance between us. A distance that I found hard, and that was starting to shift. And I was so looking forward to sharing that re-emerging with you, Dad. Spending more time and deepening our relationship again. And it's agony that's been stripped from me. So, in this reality, it's with deep gratitude that I thank you, Dad, for helping to instill in me a knowing of the beyond. One that I can lean into now and feel your ever-present, undying love. Dad, I feel blessed to have grown up in your care. Honoured to be your daughter. Humbled to stand on your shoulders and grateful beyond belief for all you have given me. I love you. And Dad, I think I'm finally learning one of your greatest lessons. Slowly, most days currently very slowly. Yet surely, the dishes are becoming my daily meditation. The daily tasks of living, my prayer. Thank you.
Mine's not nearly as nice as theirs. I want to start with it. Crying. Okay. Gratitude and a huge thank you to the team. Everyone needs a team in their life. Many are lucky enough to have family. Some of us waifs and strays, not so. We need to know there are people in our lives who have our backs, who will be there for us when the chips are down. Well, the chips have certainly been down for me for a while now, and despite the upset and unrest of the last few years, thankfully I have been sent some angels. I hope you know who you are. I tell you often, and I hope you hear me. The angels who have helped me through the last 7.5 weeks and helped make today happen. Knowing you'll be there moving forward will make the journey easier, and I thank you, all of you. I've pondered many things I wanted to share today. To speak lofty thoughts about love and the many ways we can show and share love. Thoughts about truth and man's search for truth and understanding. Witty stories about Darag so wanting to help people see what he believed to be the truth. He had begun a conversation with Sasha about truth the night before we left for our holiday. And then he managed to leave us with a conundrum, and when did he die? For me, it was a Tuesday, the 9th of June. For those here in New Zealand, it was Wednesday, the 10th of June. Another pointer to the infinite possibilities of truth. And what can we ever really believe except to trust our own inner guidance? The inner guidance that he was so passionate about. The large M mind, if you read his book, Light, Laws, Love. Light, Love, Laws and Lies, free on his website. He was 1 in a million, someone said to me of Darag the other day, and yes, he was. He was kind, honest, generous, knowledgeable, compassionate, trusting, and loving. He wanted and needed nothing for himself. He would wear clothes till they fell off him and would be disappointed that they didn't still sell the same ones when he finally managed to make him go and buy some new ones. He was a family man. He loved his family. Spending time together as a family. He really didn't need or want anything much else except the company of good friends until he joined the choir. I've ranted and I've railed against I need a tissue. One moment. I'll try not to blow my nose in the mic. Okay. I've ranted and I've railed against whoever it is who decides these things. And I've railed against the spiritual bypass and the niceties and the downright avoidance of death and grief, how society seems to think normal. I don't want to hear that he's transitioned or that he's passed. He's passed what? His learner's license? His fucking being in a human body license? Or did you mean past? P-A-S-T, like past tense? I don't want to hear that he's now with the light, that he's doing great work. I don't want to hear that he hasn't left me. He has. He's no longer in the physical form that walked beside me, worked beside me, parented beside me, homeschooled beside me, and slept beside me. For pretty much every day of the last 36 or so years. His human suit, the body that has held mine through all my pain and my joy for all these years, is gone. And nothing can bring that back, and it hurts. So what's it really like for me? Well, there are days when I can do normal things, like go for a walk on the beach, maybe even go to choir and sing. There are days when if Sash and I hadn't begun a little ritual of walking up to the top of the hill to watch the sunrise each morning, I don't think I'd bother getting up. I certainly wouldn't bother eating. Despite the freezer loads of food that has been delivered, it still needs heating. There are days when I think about taking myself on a trip around the South Island or over to the UK to see old friends and family. And there are days when my body aches so badly I can barely move. My kitchen looks like a bomb site. I still haven't put my suitcase away or got my winter clothes out. My posture's hunched, the muscles in my back and neck tighten, trying to hold my body together as it feels like it wants to shatter into a million pieces. Going to bed each night is getting more difficult. Changing the sheets is an impossible task. Nights when it's felt as though my heart was actually breaking open in my chest. I don't think I realised that was an actual body sensation. Well, believe me, it is. For me, it was like a ripping apart sensation. I'm grateful to Elena for giving me some reformer Pilates sessions and sending me along to an amazing chiropractor. What do I miss most? His warmth on cold winter nights, his always ready hugs, our morning cuddles, his cheeky grin. Beach walks holding hands, movie nights by the fire, outings to the movies or theatre. His calm presence, his always ready to help, getting out the door on time, tech stuff, my website, not to mention the IR7s and house and garden maintenance. I used to say he was like an ever-ready battery. He was always on the go. And with me being incapable these last 6 months, he's had to do absolutely everything. I miss his cheeky little grin. I miss his gentle and loving ways. Oh, unless you believe the government has our best interests at heart. Viruses are real, or climate change is solely man-made. What do I need? I need people, I need visitors, I need invites to go out. If I say no, it doesn't work, please ask again so I know you're thinking of me. And please keep saying his name. If I thought I could sing, I'd sing the song from Sarah McLachlan. The words are in your books, and we'll play it at the end of the service. The words are so true for me. The place I could always rest my head when my world had come undone, because I've been wrestling with my demons. The demons he didn't understand. My insecurities, the hurts from unwitting comments, loss of friendships I thought would never end. Though he didn't understand, he was always there for me. Your quiet words a salve to soothe my wayward soul. It was there I learned to heal. It was. He was the first person I could tell my darkest secrets to, the first person I trusted with my shame, and he simply loved me anyway. Your light buried the dark, a constant, unwavering heart. That was my Darag. We met, as you've heard, well, it's a bit of what you've heard. We met because someone on a psychodrama training I was on gave me his number. She said I thought I might be interested in rebirthing. I wasn't. I was doing counsellor training. I didn't want any weird stuff, thanks. It was about 2 years later I found that piece of paper at the bottom of my handbag, called to make an appointment, asked if I wanted to work with a man or a woman. I'd been seeing a woman therapist, so I thought it would be good to see a man. Made the appointment, went to the address in Castor Bay at the appointed time and found a completely empty house. Phew, I thought, don't have to do that then, that's great, and went home. A few days later I got a call from a very apologetic Darag. He and his then wife had moved house the day I was meant to go for my first session. An invitation to lunch with him and Margaret was part of the apology. Safe enough, I figured, he's married. I'd just bought a house, didn't have a great deal of money, and a free lunch sounded great. Profound apologies and lunch made up for it, and sessions began. We swapped rebirthing sessions for massage, and I also did a rebirther training with him and Margaret. And the Loving Relationships training was coming to New Zealand, and I was part of the assistance team for that first training. Darag and a couple of others were centre managers at the time. And he and Margaret was by now in the process of splitting up, and there was a fancy dress party for the assistants. I dressed up as a French tart. I think there's a pretty awful photo. Yeah, well, we did some weird things back then. Anyway, fishnet stocking, short skirt, beret, the whole bit. And after a few drinks and knowing that he was feeling sad, I acted the part and I kissed him goodbye, as the tart I was portraying. Next, as he drove past me, he said he had the thought, I don't need to be with someone who doesn't want me when I can be with someone who does, staring straight at me. And I thought, whoops, I didn't mean anything by that. I was just acting the part of the French tart. Anyway, he wasn't my idea of who I wanted to be with, and we were heavily into thought as creative back then. How wrong I was. I remember for the first few years of us actually being together, how many of my women friends would ask for a clone. And yes, I think I pretty much won the jackpot. I do feel so very blessed to have had such a wonderful man. As my man for so very long. The hard part is going to be having to learn to live without him now. And much as I will be done soon, I promise. Much as I've had the why me, why now, and of course the why not me questions run through my head, I have to believe that his work here was done. Darag was willing to stand up and speak out for what he believed was the truth. Admittedly, he wasn't always great at allowing others a different opinion, but he did get better. He realised that berating people for having a different opinion was not going to change their opinion. Sasha remembers he would often remark that perhaps his lesson here on earth this time was to forgive humanity its stupidity. So maybe he had come to that place. And I have to admit that over the last 6 months or so, in the few conversations I witnessed him having with people who had a different opinion on something he believed was now glaringly obvious, he was certainly less angry, less frustrated, more surrendered, and invited people to read books and articles he believed uncovered truths. Back to these truths again. Just as when 10 people say the same accident and yet there are 10 different stories, surely truth is always and only each of us being willing to be our true, authentic selves. As Darag was, always. He didn't do the need to look good or quote his credentials. He simply offered of himself. The self which encompassed great knowledge, deep compassion, and a wisdom that I believe emanated from his absolute belief in the something which connects all things. Whether that's your God, higher self, spirit, light, or mycelium, or whatever it is that connects us all, we are all part of the whole, and each have a part to play in the unfolding of life. When funds were tight and we'd complain that no one seems to put a dollar value on our work, he'd wonder how his life would have been if he'd continued in his doctor role. But he's convinced we would have never met, and he certainly would have not spent any time with the next two loves of his life, his daughters, Sasha and Elena. He gave so much to so many. In fact, we missed out on him somewhat over these last few years, so I was extremely grateful to Elena for winning a trip and offering to take us with her to Japan last year. It meant we got to have a holiday and relax, to focus back on us. We were beginning to take our lives back again. He's been so much to so many, many of whom I don't even know. Some of you may not know I was diagnosed with a concussion mid-December last year and I've been in recovery since then. Darag has had to do literally everything. Rarotonga was meant to be a relaxing holiday. There's so much more he would have enjoyed. So many more years together. Elena's 30th birthday, weddings, grandchildren. He would have adored grandchildren. In his book, he creates an acronym for LIBERATE. Life in balance, expanding, radiating, and touching everyone. And says, for me, that's the essence of how love works in the world. Well, for me, reading through the messages on Facebook from people far and wide, I think he managed to pretty much live up to that. And I love this quote from his book. The body, as I see it, is just a tool to express the love that we are. All else comes up short. And this is another quote from his book. As much as I like money and career to be working better for me, it has never been money that motivated me or inspired me, but union. The reconnection to what is real is what has had my attention over the decades. I have a sense that none of this that we see in this world, in this universe, may be real. Sasha came up with the idea of going through a box of his belongings I didn't even know he had. He kept every card that we'd ever sent him. And I read what's been true for me through all our time together, words I have written to him over the years. You're the light in my day, the stars in my night. You're my harbour of safety and my shelter from life's storms. You put the sunshine in my life, the flowers in my garden, the stars in my night sky. You're my rock to build on, my path to walk along, and my anchor through the storms. My rock from which I can leap, my safe place to return to. my yesterday, today and tomorrow, my yes and my no. Having you in my life gives me the freedom to grow. I'm forever grateful to you for being the wonderful man that you are and for being mine. Thank you for being here. For being you, for holding my hand and for loving me.
It is still early days, but the love and the deep, deep, deep love of these three women shines through. Thank you very much. So please be seated while we have the combined choirs come up and sing You Raise Me Up. We're very close to finishing. Thank you, choirs. I am told that we can clap.
Do you want to switch it out? Fine.
And here we are at this ineffable sacred moment. Winter evening blazes across our islands, and on the horizon with winds and rain and the fading light over the sea. As we move from our relationship with Darag in the physical to experiencing the spirit of Darag, may Darag's passing bring us to a place of the promise of personal growth and evolution and peaceful contribution to our communities. We are each invited to touch into our grief and love in our own courageous way, honoring the pain and the passion, in tears or in silence, in prayer or in song, alone or together. When we honor our grief, we allow the whole human story. We become empowered to care more deeply, live more fully, and to restore life through our positive actions. We touch into the magnetic quality of grief, of the sorrow and tenderness we hold for each other and the whole world. The losses we have experienced personally and collectively seem to bind together in a pool of memories, and we come face to face with our own vulnerability and humanity. Darag may remind us to listen deeply, to be grateful for what we cherish, to reconnect with our sense of belonging and interconnection, to honor our grief and honor our love, to envision the world anew and go forth with compassion and inspired action. We are grateful, Darag, to have shared in your love, in your life, and in your times. Bless you, Darag, and your journey to the stars. Before we move to dinner time, there are 2 reminders. Please remember to take your containers, platters, and glass, and no alcohol again is permitted after 9:15 p.m. The family extends a huge thank you to all the people during the last 4 weeks who have made this celebration of life possible. And a thank you to your families who have missed you during all the planning and preparation. I would like to invite all the team leaders, all the team members, including those who signed up recently and those who came today, to please stand so we can acknowledge your contributions. It truly took a village. And there are people in the kitchen as well, and there are people who have helped us behind the scenes too. The family is so very grateful. Now I invite you to please rise for our final song, Loch Lomond. Thank you. Thank you.
But wait, there's more. No. No.
So Sally has chosen a meaningful song that will be played during our transition to dinner time, followed by the music and the dancing with the Kaylee Band. This concludes our celebration of life for our Darag. Go well, everyone.
Thank you.
So we're going to help move the chairs and set up some tables. Thanks, everyone.